Hi everybody. First of all, welcome to my channel and welcome back. What is up everyone? It's great to see you. So I want to just first of all, before we get to the topic of this video, which is the 5 reasons people make excuses for not learning or developing their English, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me, everybody. So first and foremost, you'll notice there's not been a lot of updates from me in terms of videos being produced or content that's been coming out of this channel. And I want to really apologize for that, because one of the things that has been keeping me from doing that is quite a big life-changing event that happened to me. And last year, my wife, together with my son, we decided to move from Slovakia, where we used to live, to Austria. And the reason being is last year, for those of you who know me personally, I had a job offer in Vienna, in Austria, and also at a couple of other universities in the Lower Austria area. And I decided to accept them. So I'm teaching business English in a few universities. I won't mention the names, but it's a job that's given me a lot of new challenges. It's very stimulating, and I finished a lot of the private or in-company teaching of English that I was doing in Bratislava. So it's been quite life-changing. I've had to, even though the distances are so short, I mean, basically Bratislava and Vienna are only about 60 kilometers apart, but it's been quite life-changing because not only is it a different country and a different language, but also a very different mentality. And I've had to do a lot of paperwork, a lot of administrational stuff, and it's just been really time consuming. So there was no time or very little time to actually sit down and make some quality videos. And I really believe in, if I'm going to do something, I will do it properly, and I don't want to do a half job. I want to do something properly and thoroughly. So that's why I decided for the last 6 to 7 months just not to put out any videos. So thank you to those that have subscribed recently and got involved with the channel. I really appreciate your continued support, everybody. And yeah, let's move on a little bit. So aside from that and the life-changing fact that I moved to a different country, the next point is that from June I'm going to be doing also something new, and I want to start offering free English lessons. So people are going to be thinking, well, hey, free English lessons, that's great. Okay, well, it is, and I want to offer it to a lot of people. So I'll give you more details about that probably in May. I'll make another video and post it and give you full details of how that's going to be working and the type of format I'll be using. But the idea is really essentially, for 1 hour a week, I'll be offering you my time. It's time you guys can ask questions, you can ask me anything. I'll be teaching a topic or a subject, but I'll also be giving you a lot of time to ask questions. And the whole idea is it's complete free hour of English online, okay? And that will be for free. But I'll give you more details about that probably a little bit later, and I'll keep you posted with another video about the latest developments. Okay, so the next thing is, I'm just going to have a look in my notes, but the topic of today's video was really about the 5 barriers that people use to not improving their English and how they can improve it. And this morning while I was having my breakfast, I made a couple of notes that I think would really summarize a lot of the excuses I hear my students making, and I want to give you some advice about what you can do to overcome these problems, really. So the first point is the fear of making mistakes. Okay, now I hear this a lot. You know, I don't like speaking in English because I'm scared of making a mistake in front of my colleagues and sounding stupid, or I'm afraid to speak English because of how I sound. These are things I hear over and over and over again. Okay, now I think it's, it's in one way it's quite sweet that people think like this, but in another way, you've got to get over this. You've got to move on from what other people think. I'll tell you a little anecdote or a little story. I speak Slovak. For those of you who know me quite well, I speak Slovak. Not brilliantly, but I can communicate quite well in Slovak when I need to. I need to speak with people. And 9 times out of 10, most people are really, really nice. They're really, really supportive, and they want to help. And they give me a lot of support, a lot of encouraging feedback about how great my Slovak is or my pronunciation. And I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to find the same when you guys are using English. You're going to find that people are supportive. They're going to give you enough respect to use that language, even if you make mistakes. However, I have had probably a handful of people, I would say, who have been quite negative towards me, particularly if I make, pronunciation or a grammatical error. And quite often I found that these people often have problems of their own. They often are unhappy about things. Maybe things aren't going well in their private life. Maybe they've got problems at work. And these people have issues, okay? And I think people who've got issues, or maybe are very upset, or maybe they've got problems in their own life. And again, I don't want to generalize or put anyone or sort of say that everyone's bad, because that's not the case. But I guess my point is that a lot of people have are very complimentary, but there's always going to be someone out there who's going to say, hey, you did that wrong, you said that bad, and walk away. Don't let it worry you. I've experienced it using Slovak. Just last week I was in a foreign office in Austria, and I was shot down. I was really sort of badly spoken to from a lady for not using German, and I apologized. I said, hey, look, I can try in German, and I did, and she was quite nasty with me, and I'm quite a sensitive person, so that really upset me. And I thought, hey, how could someone be so cruel, when I'm trying to make an effort in their language, and they just sort of didn't even give me the time of day. It happens. Move on. The same when you're using English. If someone is going to give you a hard time over it, just walk away. You're going to find more often than not, there's people out there who will give you the time, will be supportive, and will really help you when you're trying to master a new word or a language. So that's the first bit of advice. So moving on, the second is not having someone to practice English with. This is a tough one. I often find that a lot of people, especially today, speak English well enough. They speak English, particularly if they're working in a company or if you're a student. Most people speak English to a decent enough level that they can hold a conversation about a number of different topics. So I suggest just having a conversation, making one day an English day or an English evening, and just actively forcing yourself to speak in a language. If that is too hard, and I do understand that after a hard day at work, or if you've been traveling a lot, it's very, very hard to sort of come home and say, okay, let's speak in English tonight. Use Netflix, watch a movie, read things in English. There's so much stuff out there in English. If you're a movie fan like me, if you like serials or different TV programs, use Netflix. Everything is in English, and you can just watch whatever you want. At the moment, I'm a very, very big science fiction fan, and at the moment I'm watching Star Trek, and of course everything is in English. There isn't the possibility to have everything in the language that you'd like. So Netflix is a really good resource. So in my opinion, no excuses, everything can be done. You can either practice with your partner, with your spouse. If they don't speak English, get online, use Netflix, watch something in English, get exposure to the language. That's definitely another way you can do that. Another one, a very important one, is a word called procrastination. Procrastination meaning delaying something and delaying it and delaying it. And it's one of these times that, for example, you say, okay, I'll go to the gym. Okay, I'll go next week. I'll go a month later. And then before you know it, you've never even gone to the gym. You've never even set foot in a gym. So my view is that procrastination is a terrible thing. I also do it. I'm very guilty. I want to learn German, and I keep finding reasons to not do it. And I think it's terrible. But the only way to do it is to do it in very, very small pieces. So I often use the expression, do it in bite-sized chunks. So if you think about eating a meal, you don't eat it all at once, okay? You eat it slowly. So you sit down, take 15 to 20 minutes to eat your lunch or your evening meal or whatever, okay? The same with a language. Don't do it all at once, do it slowly. One app that I think a lot of people will be familiar with, I'm just looking for this app actually, guys, but a lot of people will be familiar with is Duolingo. In fact, here it is. I'll show you. Duolingo. There we go. Okay. And I use this a lot. In fact, maybe I can show you, but I'm learning German at the moment. I haven't started, but I'm planning to start learning German using this. And the great thing about Duolingo is you can do it whenever you want. And I've just set myself the challenge of doing 5 minutes a day. I do 2 challenges. Learning German, 5 minutes a day, which I'm about to start. And I also do another challenge, which is more of a fitness challenge. And I do a challenge where I've got to do every morning 100 push-ups. And it's a killer. Okay, but I'm doing 100 push-ups for the next month until the end of April. And I also want to do the same with German, where I commit to learning German 5 minutes a day. It's the same with English. Just commit to it. Just get started. Don't wait. Go for it. Okay, the next one is a lack of time. And I'll combine the last 2 points I've got, a lack of time and expense. Okay, so we talked about procrastination, and a lot of people find reasons to say that I don't have time for English or I don't have money for English. Well, I think again this can be summed up quite simply. I think that if you don't have time, you've got to make time. So, again, try to do this in periods of time that are a little bit easier to manage. For example, 5 minutes a day is nothing. 5-10 minutes a day is really nothing. If you can manage your time effectively, which everyone should be able to do, 5 to 10 minutes of learning a language is nothing. And it's better than nothing. Okay? So I would really look at just if you're a person that is super busy, just set yourself the target. 5 minutes a day. It's really the way to do it, in my opinion. The last point is expense. Now, for those of you watching and say, well, yeah, learning a language is expensive, I say it doesn't have to be. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And of course, you can go down. I can go tomorrow. I can go down to the British Council and book an English course or any other language school, and I could spend a lot of money, pursuing really good language skills. The same with my German. I could go to an institute in Vienna and pay a lot of money and perfect my language skills. Language skills, sorry. But I don't have the time because I teach a lot, and I also don't have so much money that I can afford to spend a couple of €1,000 on a language course, taking the time off work. So I'm just going to do it online. That's the fact of the matter is we've got all these online tools. We've got so much out there that by going online, using YouTube videos, using the resources that are around us that we can get for free, we can start. We can certainly start. There are going to be times when having a teacher and actually talking to someone is going to be a lot more advantageous than using an app. But if you're someone that is on a budget, if you can't afford to invest thousands right away, get going with the basics. Start with an app. Start with YouTube videos. Start with the videos on this channel. Okay. And that brings me to my last point. That is one reason why I'm going to be offering English language lessons for free from June onwards, because I recognise there's people that don't have a lot of money to invest into English language lessons every week. I appreciate spending 25, 30 euros an hour is really a lot of money for some people. Maybe it isn't for some people, but for some people it's a tremendous amount of money. And I want to give everyone the gift of just improving the language without having to spend a fortune. So, like I said at the start of the video, I will put more information out about that. And I hope that 2019 is a year that you guys can do a lot to get better in English, not procrastinate, and be active English learners and do as much as you can. So guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been a long video. If you've lasted to this and you've got to this stage, thanks for being so patient, and have a great day and a great month. Be in touch with you soon later this month. Bye now.